What do babies, astronauts on a spacewalk and hanging baskets have in common? They all use sodium polyacrylate crystals to absorb fluids. When an astronaut is on a spacewalk, it can take them many hours to get suited, go out, do their work and come back and then get their suits off. And so we need to give them a maximum absorbency garment in case they need to go to the toilet. These garments and nappies and hanging basket granules all contain crystals that look like this. Very small white crystals that absorb up to 400 times their own weight in water. I put a single small scoop of this crystals into half a litre of water and I've ended up with a solid mush. This could have absorbed even more water. How do I get rid of this? By adding salt. And what I'll do is I'll pour some salt in and we'll have a little look at this afterwards and see whether the crystals have gone back. So, what could the students do? Well, we can look at the crystals inside a nappy. So here is a nappy, a reasonably large nappy. What I suggest is that you cut off one end of the nappy. Nappies have a one-way membrane because we don't want anybody feeling wet after they've poured liquid in here. So if I cut through my membrane, and what I'll see are layers of an absorbent material, and inside that absorbent material are crystals of polyacrylate. Now these are actually very tightly bound to the cotton wool. Your students might like to separate the crystals out. I think it could take a little bit of time. You'll see in the sunlight, if you hold these up, that there will be a little sort of glinting of the crystals. You might want to unfold the layers and you'll certainly be able to feel the crystals. But rather than have a good old scrape around, what you can do is place this in a bowl and just start adding water. I've got a litre of water here. I'm not going to add it all. I put about half a litre in here. So I've got my absorbent cotton wool, and if I just leave that for a little bit, the crystals inside will start to absorb the water. I'm also going to mix the salt in here and see if it starts to liquefy. I'm assured it will. So there we go, it's already far more liquid than it was. I will be able to now pour this down the sink if I want to. Actually, I could of course have just waited for it to dry and put it back in my hanging basket as well. See how that's now nice and liquid. If you look here, you can see we've absorbed the crystals, the water, and you might be able to see layer of crystals on the bottom. Get your students to try and separate out the cotton wool, which just holds the crystal in place, so that they can actually see where the crystals are. You see a layer, maybe not so clearly here, but you can see there's a layer of crystals just over there. And we can also see that that half litre of water has been quite convincingly absorbed. There's nothing swilling around, so I might try adding a bit more water and just see how much my nappy can hold. A good little test, of course, is to use different nappies. Is it worth buying Pampers or Huggies, or can we get away with Lidl's best nappies? See what the claims of the manufacturers are. I think some of the quality will depend on how well the one-way barrier works, so how dry does the nappy feel once water's been poured into it, and secondly, how much of this polyacrylate material has been included. You can see it really swelling up here. It's maybe not so visible on the camera, but in fact within the bowl I can see a lot of this polyacrylate. And you can see as well, got a lovely fluid liquid here, so just adding a bit of water is absolutely fine. The other place you can find these polyacrylate crystals, I believe, is in Magic Snow, but you might just find it as easy to buy a pack of these water-saving granules if you want to, just to do some of these experiments with. You get that from a garden centre.